Close your eyes and imagine an apple. What color is it? According to research in psychosomatics, the color of an imagined apple can indicate a deficiency of certain vitamins and minerals. For example, green is associated with iron deficiency, yellow with B vitamin deficiency, and red with vitamin C deficiency. This is due to the fact that our unconscious continuously monitors the state of the body and tries to compensate for existing imbalances. As Carl Jung noted, the archetypes of the collective unconscious can manifest themselves symbolically in our thoughts and images. In this case, the image of the apple and its color is an attempt by the unconscious to visualize and communicate information about physiological needs. The unconscious knows what the body needs and seeks to draw attention to it with the help of symbolic images. Thus, the experiment demonstrates the close relationship between the human psyche and physiology. The unconscious continuously analyzes the state of the organism and with the help of symbolic images tries to compensate the existing imbalances and satisfy the needs. This amazing ability of our mind deserves further study by psychologists and neurophysiologists. Do you think there are still unexplored possibilities for the interaction of the conscious and unconscious? Can we learn to better understand the symbolic language of our subconscious? There are certain strata of psychic life, the presence of which we must infer from their effects, but to which we have no direct access. Sigmund Freud. The beginning of the popularization of the concept of the unconscious is really associated with the names of Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, two outstanding thinkers who contributed greatly to the development of psychoanalysis and analytical psychology. It was Freud who was one of the first to suggest that in addition to conscious processes in the human psyche, there are also unconscious drives, desires, and motives that largely determine our behavior. According to Freud, the unconscious manifests itself in dreams, reservations, and erroneous actions. He believed that traumatic memories and instincts displaced into the unconscious could provoke neuroses. Carl Jung, a student and follower of Freud, developed the concept of the unconscious by introducing the concepts of the collective unconscious and archetypes. According to Jung, the collective unconscious of mankind concentrates the universal experience of previous generations. The works of Freud and Jung caused a huge public outcry and interest in the phenomenon of the unconscious. Their ideas formed the basis of psychoanalytic direction in psychology and psychotherapy, influencing many philosophers, writers, artists of the XX century. Thanks to these outstanding thinkers, the concept of the unconscious is firmly embedded in modern culture, science, and social consciousness. At the unconscious level, society shapes the individual's perceptions and goals, which he experiences as his own. Erich Fromm. The unconscious plays an important role in shaping a person's personality. According to psychoanalytic theory, many aspects of our behavior and character are determined by urges, desires, and complexes embedded in the unconscious. At the same time, communication with other people and socialization have a significant impact on personality development. On the one hand, the norms and rules of society suppress the manifestations of some instincts and impulses of the unconscious. On the other hand, interaction with other people allows to develop the ability to empathy, communication, which also partially corrects the innate features. As for the development of a child in isolation from society, we can cite the infamous examples of Mowgli or Kaspar Hauser. Children deprived of social contacts from an early age, as a rule, have serious difficulties with communication and socialization in the future. They do not develop verbal communication skills, emotional intelligence, the ability to empathize and sympathize. Their personality, to a greater extent, manifests innate instincts and behavioral patterns of the unconscious, not corrected by upbringing. Thus, society, on the one hand, suppresses the manifestations of the unconscious, but on the other hand, develops important social qualities of personality. Harmonious development is possible only with a reasonable balance of both factors. Do you think it is possible to completely abstract from the influence of society in the modern world? Can a person develop harmoniously, relying only on his inner world? Man is capable of unconsciously grasping the truth before it is revealed to his consciousness. Fyodor Dostoevsky. The unconscious plays an important role in many of our decisions and choices. Here are some examples of how the unconscious can influence decision-making. Intuition. Sometimes we make decisions based on an intuitive gut feeling that comes from deep within our unconscious. Our unconscious picks up and analyzes many disparate factors that may be missed by the conscious mind. Automatisms. Some habitual actions we perform on automatic, without thinking. This is also a manifestation of unconscious patterns. For example, the route to work or the habit of drinking coffee in the morning. Dreams. Dreams are the language of our unconscious. By analyzing dreams, you can better understand the hidden fears, desires that influence the choice. Emotional reactions. Sometimes we make a decision impulsively, under the influence of emotions that come from the subconscious depths. Cognitive distortions. Our unconscious biases can lead to errors in thinking, affecting logical decisions. So, although we don't always realize it, the unconscious plays a key role in how we choose and make decisions in different situations. Learning to better understand the language of our unconscious is an important ability to improve the quality of decisions. The unconscious drives most severe mental disorders. Carl Jung. The role of unconscious processes in the emergence and development of mental illnesses is extremely great. According to psychoanalytic theory, it is in the depths of the human psyche, in the unconscious, that the true causes of neuroses, phobias, depressions, and other disorders lie. In a normal state, consciousness and unconsciousness are in a balanced interaction, but under certain conditions, this balance is disturbed. Traumatic experiences, psychological traumas, acute internal conflicts can lead to the displacement of painful experiences in the subconscious. Negative emotions, fears, memories blocked there do not disappear without a trace, but continue to have a destructive effect. They distort the perception of reality, provoke inadequate behavior, somatic disorders. A person loses the integrity of personality because part of his I is detached and inaccessible to conscious control. As a consequence, the emotional sphere suffers, relationships with people are disturbed, there is a feeling of inner emptiness and meaninglessness of life. Thus, depression is dominated by an inferiority complex, a repressed sense of their own needlessness, guilt, inability to control life. In hysteria in the unconscious prevails infantile desire to attract attention and sympathy from others. Phobias are rooted in archaic survival instincts, fears of being abandoned or dying. The study of the language of the unconscious, hidden motives and attitudes opens the way to effective therapy of mental disorders. Harmonization of the conscious and irrational spheres of the psyche is the basis for recovery and personal growth. Arbitrary attention performs the function of temporary censorship for the subconscious mind. Pavel Simonov. At the neurobiological level, the interaction between consciousness and unconsciousness is regulated by complex brain mechanisms. A key role in the suppression of subconscious impulses is played by the prefrontal cortex, a section of the brain responsible for controlling behavior, decision-making, and rational evaluation of the situation. The neurons of the prefrontal cortex send signals to other parts of the brain, particularly the limbic system, suppressing emotional outbursts and impulsive actions that come from the subconscious. Also important is the inhibitory function of the neurotransmitter GABA, which regulates the excitability of neurons. At its high level, the activity of subcortical structures responsible for emotions and instincts is inhibited. At the same time, in a state of stress or fatigue, when cortical control is weakened, unconscious impulses can escape. This is due to decreased levels of serotonin and norepinephrine, which are also involved in the regulation of impulsivity. In some mental illnesses, there is an imbalance of neurotransmitters and a disruption in the connections between the prefrontal cortex and subcortical structures. This leads to a weakening of control and freer expression of unconscious urges. Thus, being in a delicate biochemical balance, the brain ensures optimal interaction between conscious and irrational processes. Violation of this balance leads to the predominance of one of the spheres and loss of harmony of the inner world. The search for neurobiological mechanisms of their harmonization is one of the fascinating tasks of modern science. In the unconscious lurk the destructive instincts of human nature. Erich Fromm. The idea that the unconscious represents the source of evil and destruction is largely erroneous and simplistic. In fact, the unconscious contains both positive and negative aspects. On the one hand, the unconscious may contain instinctual drives, aggressive impulses, and traumatic memories, which under certain conditions can lead to destructive behaviors. However, the unconscious is also a source of creativity, inspiration, positive emotions, intuitive thinking, imagination, the ability to insight. All of this is rooted in the layers of the unconscious. The unconscious manages vital processes in the body and ensures adaptation to the environment. Problems arise when a person becomes alienated from his own unconscious. Then his irrational energy is not integrated with the consciousness and can manifest itself in the form of outbursts of uncontrolled aggression or self-destruction. The task of a healthy psyche is to establish a harmonious dialogue between these two spheres of our inner world. To idealize or demonize any one of them is futile. The path to personal maturity lies through the integration of the conscious and unconscious. In the depths of the collective unconscious lies the whole experience of mankind. Carl Jung. The collective unconscious is a concept introduced by Carl Jung to refer to the deep layer of the human psyche, common to all mankind and containing archetypes, primordial images of ancestral experience. According to Jung, the collective unconscious is a reservoir of psychic energy and contains universal behavioral patterns, symbols, images accumulated throughout human history. The collective unconscious is the source of creative inspiration, intuition, and insights, but it also harbors irrational impulses of destruction. It is a deep layer of the psyche that forms the basis of our archetypal heritage as a species. Recognizing the influence of archetypes and the symbolism of the collective unconscious opens the way to a deeper self-knowledge and understanding of human nature. Jung's ideas still have a tremendous influence on psychology, art, and culture today. Archetypes are the effective forces of our unconscious. Carl Jung. According to Carl Jung, the main archetypes of the collective unconscious are 1. Persona, the mask a person wears in society to conform to expectations and norms. 2. The shadow, hidden desires, complexes, and qualities that the individual suppresses and denies in himself. 3. Anima and animus, the feminine and masculine in the psyche that influence relationships and the choice of a partner. 4. Self, the center of personality, the link between consciousness and unconsciousness. 5. Sage, personification of wisdom, prudence, and intuition. 6. Hero, archetype of courage, determination, and overcoming. The main task of archetypes is to guide the behavior of an individual in accordance with the collective experience of mankind. Archetypes form the personality and set possible models of development. Their awareness helps a person to better know and realize himself. The unconscious is another stage on which the self acts. Sigmund Freud.